Saudi Arabia is the largest economy in the Gulf Cooperation Council, and with stable outlooks from the major ratings agencies such as Fitch, Moody's and Standard & Poor, its growth looks only set to strengthen. With me now is Bernd van Linder from Saudi Hollandi Bank and Khalid Al-Muammar from Saudi Hollandi Capital. Well, Bernd, if I might start with you. Saudi Arabia is of course known for its oil wealth. Is this still the driving factor behind the country's economy today?
The Saudi government has set out on a very ambitious diversification program under its Vision 2020. The aim of this program is to turn the economy into a knowledge-based one, so away from pure oil. Under this program there have been very substantial investments in research and development, such as the setup of one of the top research universities in the world, King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, but there are other research centers throughout the country. In time, these investments will result in the economy becoming more diversified, a knowledge-based one. If you look at the economy today, it's obviously benefiting from massive government investments in infrastructure, such as universities, schools, hospitals, roads, public transportation. But there's more. There's substantial investments from the private sector. There's a fast-growing Saudi middle class demanding all kinds of products. And there's a growing population. There's very strong demographics in the country. If you combine all of this, you see an economy that is very strong, very resilient. Non-oil private sector growing at 4 to 6% every year, and I expect that to continue. So on the whole, it's government investments, private sector investments, growth of the middle class, growth of the populations, all of these drive a very strong and resilient economy.
Now there is a government drive to focus on SMEs. Why is this and what initiatives are in place?
When you look at SMEs over the world, they are a main generator of jobs. In Saudi Arabia, we have a young and growing population and there is a need to create jobs. And I believe SMEs have an important role to play in creating those jobs. All of the players in the economy, the government, private sector, the banks, they're all focusing on developing this sector. There are initiatives like training days for SMEs at the Chambers of Commerce. There are private sector companies supporting SMEs in their development and growth. And there's a very important initiative, a joint initiative of the government and the banks called Kafala, which is a guarantee program. Under these programs, banks are able to obtain government guarantees for up to 80% of their exposures on small and medium-sized enterprises. And this is, of course, a great benefit to the banks and has helped to turn this into a very important business for the banks.
Saudi Hollandi Bank was the first operating bank in the kingdom. But how has it performed over the last few years, considering the global financial crisis, and what do you see driving its growth in the future?
Since 2010, we have been able to grow our assets at a 14% cumulative annual growth rate and our net profits at a 24% growth rate. This has also resulted in our share price more than doubling over the same period. So we've been doing very well. Traditionally, we have been a bank that is strong in dealing with large corporates, and we want to continue to be strong in dealing with those corporates. But we've also expanded our business with mid-sized corporate customers, with small and medium-sized enterprises, as we discussed, and with retail customers. We are considered a leading bank in dealing with small, medium-sized enterprises. We're one of the leaders in home finance. We're one of the fastest growing banks in the home finance segment, and we want to continue to be strong players in those. We believe that SME banking and retail banking will be main drivers of our growth. So in future you will see large businesses, mid-sized corporate businesses, SMEs and retail customers all contributing to our future growth.
Well, Khalid, over to you now, and let's look at the Saudi stock market. How do you see this as performing and how does it compare to other markets?
The Saudi stock market, or TASI, is the largest stock market or stock exchange in the region, with a market value of over 2 trillion Saudi riyals or $500 billion. Since the beginning of 2014, the performance has been very positive. That has been boosted further in the last few weeks when the government announced the acceptance of foreign institutional investors to come in and directly invest in the market. This has boosted the performance to 24% since the beginning of the year. Comparing this to other GCC markets, we see that as compared to Qatar, for example, is 28% growth. Dubai continues to lead the GCC market with about 45% growth since the beginning of the year.
Well, what upcoming IPOs are the ones to watch?
The most anticipated IPO is the National Commercial Bank, NCB. This is the second largest bank in Saudi Arabia. It has a total of $100 billion worth of assets. It had a profit of $2.1 billion in 2013. The government, which owns the majority of the bank, is looking at selling 15%, which has a value of around $4 billion. This will make it the largest IPO since that of STC back in 2003. Other IPOs to watch are those of Al Habib, which is the largest private healthcare provider in the region. Also Aqua Power, which is a water and power company, and CPC, which is a part of the Bin Laden group, and it's specializing in the construction and building materials.
Well, finally, how advanced is the Saqqaq market, and how do you see it developing in the future?
The Saqqaq market has developed tremendously in the last few years. We've seen in 2007 through 2009, on average 3 or 4 issues per year with a value of around 8 billion. Riyals. This has grown to 11 issues last year with a value of 40 billion riyals, making it the second largest Saqqaq market in the world after Malaysia. Now, the expectation for the future is for this market to develop further, with corporations as well as banks tapping into the alternative markets, basically, to grow their assets further.
And Khalid, thank you.
Thank you very much.